welcome to the Millcreek Government Channel. I'm Judy Zelina, and on our program today, we have some friends joining us, some familiar faces.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Nice to be a friend.
Well, you are a
Janice?
friend because you always give us good advice. I have Judy Helcom, who is a registered nurse, and she's also a diabetes instructor that keeps trying to retire, and we won't let her.
Right.
Also here we have Janice Ronan, and Janice is the Extension Educator, Family and Consumer Science at Penn State Cooperative Extension in Erie County. And Janice, thank you so much for joining us today.
Always nice to be here, Judy.
These ladies always have some great tips and information, and I love having them on the program because, of course, I learn something new, and my viewers do too. And I have to tell you, through the years, these ladies have really helped me try and eat a little bit healthier.
All right.
So yes, but they still have a long ways to go.
Oh my, don't
I'm a
work
in progress.
Right.
We all are.
That's it. Wow.
Today, though, we got together and we decided what topic should we bring up on the show today. And actually, we're going to be talking about eating to prevent diabetes. Great subject, because many people don't realize they can help their chances of diabetes
and
by
don't
their
realize connection between those two. Yes. Well, first of all, Judy, with learning about diabetes, people still, my contention is, and not you guys, those other guys out there, say, diabetes, don't trouble me with that, and don't feel they have to learn about it. But truly, if you learn more now about diabetes, and there's just a few basic elements to it, and then you connect it with eating, you're going to be able to be on the road more so to preventing diabetes. But if you're like the vast majority of people who don't want any part of it or insist they're never going to get it, that's really troublesome. So we know there's a quote out there that says every 10 seconds, one person dies with diabetes. And in the same 10 seconds, 2 people are diagnosed. Now, I don't know about all 3 of us do not have diabetes right now. I have pre-diabetes. But hearing that statement gives me the jitters. Okay, and I'm in the diabetes world,
right.
So imagine the average lay person, but it's the truth. So how do you learn more about diabetes? Instead of denying it and saying I'll worry about it in the future, first thing you need to do is ask your doctors, and I'm going to ask both of you, put you on the hot seat again today, but see, you love it, but have you asked your doctors to order a fasting blood sugar? And maybe he had ordered it, you weren't even aware of it, they called you and said everything's okay. You need to demand to know the number. Because if you fast for 8 or 10 hours and have that diabetes fasting blood sugar, the number should be below 100. Now, do you have any idea, don't tell me when it was, but do you have an idea that you had a blood sugar checked and what the number was? And yourself too, Janice. What do you think, Judy? Any idea?
I have no idea,
Okay.
none
All
whatsoever, because nothing was specifically said to me.
There you go.
I'm getting blood work, and this is what I'm going to be checking for in the blood work.
There you go. Okay.
I
Right.
assume they're checking everything.
Right, and that everything is
And
okay
they call
because
me
they
back and
haven't
they
pointed
say
out.
it's fine.
Yes, and Janice, how about yourself?
Yes, I had mine done last July, and I don't
Okay.
remember the specific number. I have it
Okay.
at home, but it was under 100. But one thing that I always do that I encourage people to do is to ask for a copy of the blood test results.
Absolutely.
And I just recently learned that when you go to the lab, at least the labs that most of us use, that if you ask while they're checking you in, not after it's all over, but when you're being checked in, that they will send you a copy directly to you. So you don't even have to ask your doctor. I like to compare and kind of see the trend. You know, sometimes the trend is in the wrong direction. You're not to the point where your physician is going to say anything to you and there's a problem.
Yes.
But if I'm going in the wrong direction, that gives me some motivation to, okay, I could either wait until I've got a problem and then have to make some of the changes we've been talking about, or I can make those changes and maybe prevent or delay. Sometimes you can't prevent problems completely, but if you can buy yourself a few years down the line, that's a good thing.
What a great idea to get copies of your blood work.
Right. Yeah. And to know the number, though, as long as I'm on this earth, hopefully before I go, I'll see more people knowing that number, like a lot more people know their cholesterol number, okay? Or know it should be below 200, but not when it comes to blood sugar. So that's the first step in starting to learn more about diabetes. And then calling an organization like the Erie County Diabetes Association, help me identify if I am at risk and what can I do. And basically there's 3 things to do to prevent diabetes when it's related to eating. Lose weight, because the vast majority of people have a weight issue. Get some exercise and develop those healthy eating habits. That has been proven time and time again to help prevent or delay diabetes. I mean, you could start working on one of those immediately and go in the right direction. So.
And the other thing that I think is wonderful when you talk about those 3 strategies is that these same strategies will impact the other chronic diseases and illnesses that we're worried about. High blood pressure, heart disease. So it's, I think it's a good thing, or it's reassuring to me anyway, that I don't have to do something different for each of those. But those same 3 goals or 3 strategies are going to improve your outcomes for those other chronic illnesses too.
Right.
And I think right now we just seem to be in a time where diabetes is, there's been a lot of press on diabetes. They've been talking about these famous chefs and the way they're cooking. And I think a lot of us, as you're watching these chefs on TV, if they're cooking like that, it's almost like, well, it's okay to eat like that.
There you go. Yeah. Right.
But you just have to eat healthier.
I think diabetes really is like a sleeping giant, and as our population is getting older, and we hear about the baby boomers, entering their retirement years, and that the number of people with diabetes, if it was another illness, we would be calling it an epidemic.
And it is. It's even beyond an epidemic at this point.
One,
it really is.
In 10 seconds.
Every 10 seconds somebody dies. And how many of us know somebody with diabetes? It used to be, I would ask people and they would say, no, I don't know anybody. Now I can't encounter anybody that does not know someone with diabetes.
Exactly.
That tells you there.
Okay, so you're eating to prevent diabetes. Come on, ladies. Do I have to totally change and revamp everything tomorrow? How do I do this? How can I start eating to prevent diabetes? What would be my first step?
First of all, one thing that I want to say when we start talking about the relationship of healthy eating and a diet and diabetes is the one misconception that's out there is that you get diabetes by eating too much sugar. And that just simply is not true. So, people that may be diagnosed and feel, oh, if I wouldn't have eaten so many, cookies and cake and all that, it's not the eating of sugar that causes diabetes. If you have diabetes, your body has difficulty using sugar, and it doesn't move into the cell, but it's not, it didn't cause diabetes, okay? The relationship between diabetes and healthy eating is, as Judy mentioned, if you are over overweight, then your body develops or can develop what's called insulin resistance. And that means that it's not using the insulin that your body makes to move that sugar from your blood into the cells. So controlling the weight, and that's the relationship then between healthy eating and preventing diabetes, to keep your weight under control. Okay, going back to your question then, do you have to change everything, Judy? Well, you know, as we're moving, what we're going to do is we're going to set some goals, and then it's, I think, up to each individual too to kind of break down those goals and focus on one area and move towards those goals.
Okay.
We already know that big changes result when we make a lot of small changes. You know, it's like exercise on New Year's Day, and everybody, well, I'm going to run 2 miles every day. If you've been a sedentary person, is that something that you're going to be able to sustain and do? No. But maybe if you start out saying, twice a week I will walk around the block after dinner. Then, all right, this is pretty good, so maybe now we'll do it 3 times, 4 times every day. Then maybe the walk will become 15 minutes, a half an hour, you know. So moving in the direction so that ultimately you can reach that goal. And sometimes you have to stop and look back at how far you've come. You know.
Right. That's right.
And you know, you probably can do that now and think about where you started at and some of the small, relatively small changes that you've made that, wow, when I put them all together, this is pretty exciting.
That is true.
Yeah.
It is. And then that's what makes the program successful for each individual, because you are starting slowly.
Yes.
You know, this is where you see people fail at different things because they do want to make an overnight change.
Oh my gosh.
And
I will not eat any more sugar, that's it. I just laugh.
Good luck with that
comment.
one.
Yeah, right.
As Americans, we want that instant gratification. We want to
This
take
is
that one
it.
pill and make everything go away,
Right.
or win the lottery and all of our financial problems
Yes.
go away.
Oh, boy.
And it just doesn't work that way.
No,
Right.
it does not. But now, my eating habits are so important, which is what we're talking about. Now, they can either, like we talked, lead to success or create more problems.
Okay, so this is my absolute favorite for you guys, all right? I got this little light that came on and it said, that's it, that'll solidify it. Okay, every day when you get out of bed,
Okay?
you are faced with all kinds of choices, correct?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Okay, and that's just the name of the game with
Right.
life.
Right.
However, when you're faced with those choices, what kind of choice do you actually make that is beneficial for yourself, is going to produce successes from those choices? However, sometimes we make a choice, whether it's eating, exercising, whatever, and we say, no, I don't feel like doing that this time, so I'm going to do this. Well, what results is a consequence of that behavior. You're either going to feel guilty that you did it, slap yourself over the head and say you're a terrible person, you should have known better, whatever the game is that you're going to start playing. I look at it like a chalkboard. Think if you had a little chalkboard in front of you right now and all the choices that you're making or have to make in your life, okay? So you make those choices, and on that chalkboard are all the consequences. You know how we tell people every day to start anew? Whatever you did yesterday, just forget about it. Here's the problem. If you're not going to face some of those consequences in a small way, there's going to be a point when you cannot erase that consequence off the board, that you're going to have to deal with something like diabetes. And that's what we're trying to get people to understand. Yes, there's a lot of choices. Yes, we would prefer to do something else. But what is the result going to be on your health? So it's going to lead to either successes for a healthier lifestyle, or it's going to lead to more challenges and problems and more changes for you. And none of us wants to change, never. So the little ways, like we talked about earlier, don't do big things. Just this once, no. I'm not going to have Janice's favorite, which is the potato chips, okay? Or in my case, I had a piece of that cookie. do I have to eat the whole thing? Let's see if I don't have to give in to that temptation. Little ways just now. So that's the difference between success and facing more challenges in your life.
So even something so small as just saying no to a favorite thing that one evening
Just
is
now.
going to benefit
No.
you. Right.
Yeah. But not in a way that sounds like, oh, I'm depriving myself. I don't want to say no. That's it.
And I think especially as we get older, what we have to think about is some of these habits as being good for our health rather than, we're probably never going to, most of us anyway, be back to the weight that we were when we were 20, so having some of the goals have to be to improve your life now, to give yourself good health, to maybe it's something like staying healthy so that you can see your grandchildren get married, or more immediately be able to play with them on the floor,
Yes, right.
go up and down steps, take a walk with them, those kinds of things. So what we've got here, Judy, and we have a handout that people can call in for, is kind of 10 steps or some ideas about how to build that healthy plate. I think that's kind of where we started here, and I brought a special plate with me today that helps us to visualize some of this. So
no food on it.
Yeah, no food on it. You have to pretend. We're pretending. I thought of bringing the rubber foods, but I didn't think that was
really.
it looked too attractive either. But first of all, think about the plate that you're choosing. And I think we've talked about this before. When you buy new dishes now or eat out, the plates are huge. So what we're talking about is a 9-inch plate. Okay, which is actually a little bit bigger than the one that I have here, but I brought this one because it visually will show us what we need to do. So we start with a proper plate that's going to help us control our portions, because as we've talked about it before, it's about portion control. We're going to start in filling our plate here, half of the plate with fruits and vegetables. Okay, concentrating on a variety of fruits and vegetables, things that are brightly colored, that are more nutritious. Then we're going to put on a quarter of the plate here some lean proteins, chicken, fish a couple of times a week, lean pieces of meat. You notice we've moved the meat from the main part of the plate over to the side. So automatically,
you're right. Years ago growing up, that was the meat.
Gosh,
exactly.
Absolutely.
I always ask people, especially women that cook, when your family walks through the kitchen and says, "What's for dinner?" What are they really asking you?
Right.
Okay, it's what meat are we having?
Yeah.
Right.
So we concentrate on that too much. Move it to the side of the plate. That automatically is cutting down on your portion. Then fill in this section with grains. We're emphasizing whole grains, but especially I want people to look at the fiber in. So going back to reading labels, and is this the food a grain that's going to contribute some fiber to our diet? So it could be something like brown rice or whole wheat pasta, a slice of whole wheat bread, but the grain source. And then round it out, and don't forget your dairy. Okay, the dairy might be a cup of milk, but it also could be something like yogurt, frozen yogurt, and that, choosing, again, low-fat choices. A lot of people think that if they go from whole milk and move to 2%, that this is a really good thing and they're at low-fat, and that's not the case. You need to, ideally, we'd like to see you drinking fat-free or what used to be called skim milk, but if you can't get quite that far, get at least as far as 1% milk. Or if you're not a milk drinker, you can combine things and maybe move some of the fruit from your plate on top of the frozen yogurt and turn it into a dessert. Right. But thinking of that. Then as you look at your plate, the other thing to think about is to make sure that you're not adding a lot of extra fat. Okay, we can take some things that are pretty healthy choices and turn them into something that's not so choices. Yeah. So that broccoli that's on the plate that is rich in antioxidants and nutrients, if we're pouring and drizzling cheese sauce on top of it, it becomes not such a healthy choice.
All right.
So thinking along those lines then.
Okay.
Slow down when you're eating. Enjoy your food. Food is meant to be enjoyed. We're not trying to turn it into something that's just a chore, but slow down the eating process and enjoy your food. Also coming back, thinking about the portion control in that. Try new foods, add variety into your diet. I think all of us probably have, I think I read one time maybe about 10 things that we automatically just have on our rotation. get out some cookbooks, look at the newspaper, try some new things to kind of invite your taste buds, to something that they're going to enjoy.
And when you mentioned about trying new foods, this isn't a food idea, but instead of soda or what you normally drink with your meal, reach for the glass of water. And at first, it's going to be like anything else. This is not going to satisfy me. Just get yourself into a new habit that easily. It is not that difficult, but it requires a little bit of thought.
Yeah. Even for some people, having that glass of water or maybe something like a broth and that before at the beginning of the meal, then helps to kind of curb the hunger a little bit. So again, you're able to fill up on your plate and aren't overeating.
And go to the dollar store and get one of these plates to start yourself out, to see. Just serve yourself like you normally would, but put it on this plate, and you'll see, oh, wow, that's not exactly what would be good portion size.
And it's so funny when you were talking about how you can kind of doctor up some of the food so it's not as healthy. They would probably have a heart attack if they saw my healthy salad.
Oh, wow.
Because... And I think I'm eating healthy, but I'm looking at all the cheese I've put on and all the dressing I've put on.
Okay.
So, I have tried to start cutting back a little bit on that, but that's where I started.
Yeah.
And that's why I really wanted to stress, and these two ladies are great at letting us know that it's small steps to success.
Absolutely.
It truly is.
It really is.
And think about some of those, like you mentioned, cheese in the salad. Maybe think of some choices that are very highly, intensely flavored, that a little bit is going to give you what you're looking for flavor-wise.
Okay, because I do love my cheese. That is my downfall. So I did want to ask you quickly about dairy. You were saying about yogurt or skim milk. What about some of the almond milks they have? Soy milk. Are these okay, or do we have to watch?
What you have to watch out for those is because the reason that we include the dairy is for the calcium. Dairy products are rich in many vitamins and minerals and protein and that, but it's the calcium that we get there that we're not likely to get someplace else.
So you'd have to look and see if it
you want to make
contains
sure that it's
calcium.
fortified with calcium.
Okay.
Read the label. Again, we come back to that label all the time, don't we?
We're going to do a show on that too. We were talking about that. Okay, our time's coming to an end. Where can I get some more information?
The government now has, USDA is the one that provides a lot of guidance about this, and right now they have revamped some of their websites, and if you go to the website Choose My Plate, so easy to remember, .gov, you will find just a wealth of resources there. You can find some of the tip sheets, like the one that we shared with you today. There's a super tracker portion where you can put in some information about yourself, and it will tell you, how many calories you should be having every day, how many servings of vegetables and protein in that. So it's all right there. And even if you wanted to put in your menu every day or what you're eating every day, it'll either give you a pat on the back and say good job, or it'll say not getting enough of this. So a lot of interactive things and a lot of information there. So
oh my gosh. And that again is
choosemyplate.gov.
Oh, I can't wait to check it out.
Now see, there's just one example.
That's just one. Also, we have right here in town, the Erie County Diabetes Association.
So for any questions about diabetes, concerns, whether it's for a family member or yourself, do it in the interest of your health. Give them a call at 454-0715.
And again, you guys have a website. It's wonderful.
DiabetesErie.org is the website, right? And be sure and ask your doctors to order that fasting blood sugar at least once a year would be my recommendation. And when they call with the results, ask for the number. And if it's below 100, say yes. And if it's 100 to 125, you're getting in the pre-diabetes range, and it's time to really get busy. Otherwise, you're putting your hand out and say, come and get me diabetes. So
there you go. I mean, we can't guarantee that you will not, get diabetes. but like Janice says, we can at least take some steps to try.
It's improving your chances.
Exactly,
This
improve
is
our
it.
chances.
This
Janice,
is it.
thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure.
Oh, it's
Judy.
always a pleasure. Judy, thank you. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Great tips, some
Yes.
great info for our
Right.
residents out there. Any questions, please check out those websites. Give your County Diabetes Association a call. Thank you for tuning in to the Millcreek Government Channel. Until next time, have a wonderful day.